Okay, picture this. It's October 23rd, 2018 in Rome. The city is just buzzing. Thousands of soccer fans are pouring into the metro system, all heading to a big match. You can just feel the energy, right? The air is electric with chants and songs. It's a scene of pure excitement. But deep underground, at the Republika station, which should be a completely routine descent, is about to become a terrifying 90-second nightmare.
It all starts pretty small. At 7:03 p.m., you've got about 50 fans hopping onto this long escalator. But 30 seconds later, that number doubles. You can imagine the weight just bearing down, the motor starting to strain. By 7:04, the crowd has tripled, and that's it. The motor just can't hold on anymore and begins to slip. So the first safety system kicks in, cutting the power and engaging the main brake. But it fails. The stairs just keep accelerating. Then, the final line of defense, the auxiliary brake gets engaged. Now this thing's designed to be foolproof, to lock the drive shaft directly. But it also fails. At 7:05 p.m., with every single safety system defeated, the escalator just becomes this free-falling cascade of metal.
People are just thrown forward, crushed in this huge pileup at the bottom as the steps themselves buckle into jagged metal. The final toll? 24 people injured. Now, investigators knew right away this just shouldn't be possible. The chance of all three safety systems failing at the same time is astronomically small. So what you have to understand is this wasn't just an accident. It was something way, way worse. How could a machine that we trust every single day fail so catastrophically?
To really get how this descent became so terrifying, we have to understand the machine itself. And the story of the modern escalator, well, it begins in a very, very unexpected place.
Yeah, you heard that right. Believe it or not, the ancestor of the modern escalator wasn't designed for subways or shopping malls at all. It was a thrill ride. Back in 1896, at Coney Island, an inventor named Jesse Reno showed off his continuous elevator to this amazed public. It was basically a simple 25-degree incline conveyor belt, and for 2 straight weeks, it was the hottest ticket in the park.
So Reno saw his invention as way more than just a novelty. He saw it as the future of transportation. But to make that leap, from thrill ride to transit, engineers had to solve some really fundamental and surprisingly tricky problems. The biggest challenge was all about stability. I mean, Reno's conveyor belt was just too steep. 25 degrees is right at the limit of what our ankles can flex, which makes it pretty unnerving to stand on. And an even earlier design called the revolving stairs used these fixed blocks that would tilt forward dangerously as they went around the curve. Can you imagine? It was a total nightmare to get on or off. The goal was simple, but it was really elusive. Create a moving staircase that always gives you a flat, stable surface to stand on.
And this brings us to the core engineering puzzle. I mean, how do you make a set of stairs just seamlessly appear from a flat floor, carry you all the way up, and then disappear back into the floor just as smoothly? The solution? It's just pure mechanical genius.
This amazing design comes from an inventor named George Wheeler, and it's basically the foundation for every single escalator today. So here's how it works. Each step is attached to the main chain on a single axle, which lets it pivot around. But, and this is the key, it also has a second set of wheels that follows a totally separate track. As you're going up the incline, those 2 tracks run parallel, which holds the step perfectly flat. But at the top and the bottom, the tracks actually separate. This guides that second set of wheels on a different path, forcing the step to stay completely level as it emerges from or disappears into the floor. It's just such an elegant solution to a really complex problem.
Okay, so that's brilliant. We see the steps disappear into the landing, but what are they doing on their hidden trip back to the bottom, under our feet? Do they stay upright, kind of like cabins on a Ferris wheel? Or do they do something else entirely?
Yep. As those 2 tracks curve around for the return journey, they actually guide the steps to flip completely upside down. This lets them tuck in really neatly into the loop before they pop back out at the other end. It's a simple, kind of counterintuitive, but incredibly effective solution.
All right, so with the core mechanics solved, engineers spent the next 100 years or so just layering on all these ingenious safety features. Modern escalators are designed from the ground up to be incredibly, incredibly safe, which just makes what happened in Rome all the more shocking.
The design has multiple layers of physical safety. You've got those grooved comb plates that mesh with the steps, right? That's to stop things from getting caught. You have the skirt brushes along the side to keep your shoes from getting snagged. Even the handrail is a safety feature. It's calibrated to move just a tiny bit faster than the steps. But really, the most important protections are built right into the motor system itself.
Think about a crowded down escalator. The weight of all those people actually starts to drive the motor, spinning it faster than it wants to go. When that happens, the AC induction motor automatically becomes a generator.
It actually resists being spun too fast, and it converts all that downward force into electricity, creating a natural braking effect. This isn't just efficient, it's an inherent physics-based safety brake that is literally always on.
So let's recap. An escalator has a powerful motor, it has regenerative braking, a main mechanical brake, and an auxiliary emergency brake. With all of that, how on earth did the Rome escalator fail? Well, the 2-year investigation revealed a terrifying sequence of just deliberate neglect.
First up, the main brake. When the motor started to slip, the mechanical brake clamps should have brought that fully loaded escalator to a dead stop. But when they tested it after the accident, they found it was only operating at 37% of its required strength. It was dangerously weak, completely useless against that much weight.
So the last line of defense kicked in, the auxiliary brake. But when investigators cracked it open, they found something just shocking. Somebody had physically tied plastic straps around one of its 2 brake wedges, making it totally useless. With its stopping power cut in half, it too was completely overpowered by the weight of the passengers. This wasn't a failure. This was sabotage.
And then the final damning discovery. The escalator's error logs were completely empty. The system had been intentionally reprogrammed to stop recording any malfunctions at all. They were basically silencing the machine's cries for help. This was a cover-up, plain and simple, designed to hide a pattern of critical failures.
The technical investigation pointed to just one inescapable conclusion. The machine didn't fail. The people who were responsible for it did. This was not an engineering failure. It was a human one, through and through.
During the criminal investigation, prosecutors released this absolutely chilling wiretapped phone call. You can hear a manager from ATAC, the transit authority, a guy named Renato D'Amaco, just completely dismissing the risk. He's literally saying that, a few more catastrophic failures are just a matter of percentages. It shows this completely callous disregard for the people who might be on those escalators.
So the blame fell on 2 organizations. Metro Roma, the maintenance contractor, they were found to have performed negligent work and straight up falsified their records. And then you have ATEC, the transit authority, who not only oversaw this neglect, but had managers who actively participated in the cover-up.
And here's the bottom line. When they're maintained correctly, escalators are incredibly robust machines. As one expert put it, core parts like the step chain are so over-engineered they just do not break. The system is designed to be safe. What failed in Rome wasn't the machine, it was a complete and total breakdown of human responsibility.
The Rome disaster is just a chilling reminder. We build these incredible, complex systems to make our lives safer and better. But no matter how well designed they are only as reliable as the people we entrust to take care of them. And that leaves us with a really critical question to think about.